Welcome back, 7th grade math teachers, to another exciting prep talk video where we talk to you about how to prepare for your PLCs the week of September 26th so that your team can effectively and intentionally plan the content that you will teach the week of October 3rd. As always, the goal of these videos is to help you become a contributing member to your PLC and engage in the conversations about how we will help students master the content that we teach October 3rd through the 7th. As we look at the weekly overview, you'll notice that there are only 2 instructional days this week because of district checkpoint testing, and we will turn the page from equations now to inequalities. 711B is a supporting standard tested every year the last 5 years, where we want to determine if the given value makes a one-variable, 2-step inequality true. And as we'll see in a second, it's the 2-step part of that is new to 7th grade. Students did 1-step equations and inequalities in 6th grade, and so this is now extending the thinking to be 2 steps for equations and inequalities. For 711A, students will have to model and solve 1-variable, 2-step equations and inequalities. We already focused on equations before the checkpoint, and so we will turn our attention now to inequalities. As you can see for TEAC 711B, this is an extension of what students already learned in 6th grade. In 6th grade, all of the inequalities were 1-step inequalities, and now in 7th grade, we're moving on up to 2-step inequalities. But the idea of the question is very similar. One thing that you'll notice in this 6th grade question, if you were to work it out, is that the answer is J. And the reason for that is because when you plug in 3.4 or substitute 3.4 in for P into J, what you end up getting is the following: 2.5 multiplied by 3.4. When you actually do the arithmetic, you end up with 8.5 is greater than or equal to 8.5. Students are going to need to know that that is a true statement in order to be able to tell you that the inequality is true whenever P is equal to 3.4. One thing that students will really struggle with is the plugging in and doing the PEMDAS, but also making the comparison of the inequality. And so our resources in Eduphoria actually begin with this skill, where students have to substitute in a number. It's a very easy substitution, but then they have to make the decision on, is the inequality actually true? For number 23, this 7th grade question that you see on the right, we see that if x is equal to -6, we want to know which of these inequalities is true. My recommendation would be, as you do the substitution, to use a different color. So you might have a black color for what is written in the original inequality, and then when you get to the substitution, you can change your color to something else whenever you plug in the -6 for x. Then have students do the PEMDAS and the arithmetic. -5 minus 3 times -6 will be -5 plus 18, and we want to know, is that greater than 10? And -5 plus 18 would be 13, and we want to know, is that greater than 10? Students should hopefully be able to determine that yes, that is greater than 10, 13 is, and so therefore A is the correct answer. If you work multiple choice problems like this, it's a good idea to have students just continue to go through the remaining answer choices to see if those are true or false. One way that you could set it up is as a multi-select question, where you tell students that there may be more than one correct answer. And speaking of multi-select problems, this would actually make a great multi-select question. Which values from the set satisfy this inequality? Students will start with the first value, substitute it in, and then go from there by working out the math. -1/2, replacing x with -6, and then writing the rest of the inequality down, and then working out the left-hand side doing the arithmetic. -1/2 times -6 will give me a +3, plus 3 is greater than or equal to 5, and so therefore we get 6 is greater than or equal to 5. That is a true statement, and so therefore this value does satisfy this inequality. And so therefore -6 should be on our list. And so I'm going to go ahead and eliminate F and G as possible correct answers. Now from there, you could use some test-taking strategies if you think about this in a multiple choice context. Notice that -4 is on both of the remaining lists, and so -4 clearly satisfies this inequality, and so you could go to another value and try that one out to see if it does satisfy the inequality. But it's probably good practice to have students go through each value just so that they are practicing the skill of substituting in the number for X and then working out the inequality and determining if it is true at the end of their work. If we go to the next value, let's say we go to -3. We'll plug in -3 for X, and so we'll get -1/2, plugging in -3 for X, and then writing down the rest of this inequality to see if it comes out true or false. -1/2 times -3 is going to give me a positive 1.5 plus 3 is greater than or equal to 5. And so what we get on the left-hand side is 4.5, and we want to know, is that greater than or equal to 5? Well, no, that's not true. That is actually a false statement, and so -3 does not satisfy the inequality, which means that it cannot be on the list of values, and so therefore the correct answer is J. You'll really want to monitor your students closely when they're working the problem to figure out where they are struggling if they're not getting questions correct. Are they not substituting incorrectly? Are they not working out the arithmetic correctly, or are they not making the comparison at the end correctly where they're having to decide true or false? Those would make 3 excellent aggressive monitoring laps whenever you release your students to independent practice. You're looking for, did you substitute in the value of X correctly? Did you work out the arithmetic correctly? And then did you make the correct comparison at the end? We will spend several class periods having students model and solve two-step inequalities, but for the first day, we will practice on having them write the inequality given a model. For this particular question, we're given this very important key right here that tells us the long stick is X, the white unit is 1, and the shaded unit is -1. And so students should be able to look at this and determine that I have an X here, an X here, an X here, and an X here, which gives me a total of 4 X's. And then we have this right here, which are all positive ones. And if we count that up, we're going to get 12 of those. And make sure that you emphasize that those are 12 positives. And so we'll put the plus sign in front to indicate that they are positives. Then this is going to be less than or equal. These 8 right here are shaded. We know that shaded by our key are all negative, and so that's going to be 8 -1s or -8. From there, we're going to use the steps in order to solve this inequality. Students will need to get rid of the constant first by moving it to the other side and subtracting 12. This will leave us with 4x on the left side is less than or equal to, adding these numbers together will give us -20. And then to divide by 4 to get our final answer, we will have x is less than or equal to -5 for an answer of F. Again, this is very easy to get your aggressive monitoring laps set up. You want to make sure that you know where students are messing up. Did they not write the model correctly? Do they not understand how to solve the inequality for X? These are the things that you want to gauge as students are working problems, and try to draw out their thinking through the use of questioning strategies such as the talk moves that you were trained on in August. If you have questions about those talk moves, please feel free to reach out to me or to the middle school facilitator, Paris Scott, or speak with your instructional coach, who should be able to help you with ideas to get students talking and interacting with each other, and so that you can figure out what their thinking is and how they are going about solving these problems. And as always, if you have questions, we're available via office hours on Tuesday, September 27th from 4 to 4:30, where you can get any questions answered about the content for the week of October 3rd. Before you go, please fill out our survey using the QR code to the left or the link provided on the screen. This will let us know that you watched the video and also help us to serve you better in future videos. Thank you again so much, incredible 7th grade math teachers. We're so grateful for everything that you're doing for students on your campus, and we are here to help and support you in any way that we can.